Hi, I'm Anela from Dayshaped. At Dayshaped, we make a whole range of bags out of reclaimed boat sails, but today I'm going to be showing you how to make your own super simple tote right at home. I'll be using our reliable Barracuda sewing machine, which we love because it's built specifically to handle heavy-duty materials like sails, canvas, and leather, and I'll be walking you through the process step by step. So let's get started. First, let's go over our materials. I'm going to use reclaimed boat sails, but you can use whichever material you would like. You're going to need a ruler, webbing, bias tape, scissors, a seam ripper, some kind of marking tool. We like to use these friction pens when working with sailcloth, and some fabric clips. So we're going to get started by measuring and marking a fabric piece that is 36 inches by 16 inches. And then we are going to cut that piece out. So we love to incorporate some of the special pieces of the sail in our work. And you can see that in this piece that we cut, we were able to capture some of the telltales, but we weren't able to get this logo. So what we've done is we've cut it out and we are going to patch it on to the front of the bag here. And to do that, I'm first going to secure the logo where I want it using some double-sided tape. And then we're going to move over to the machine. So I always like to start with a test piece. So I have a couple scraps here and I'm just going to make sure that I have my settings and tension down correctly. And whenever I'm patching a piece on like this, I like to use a zigzag stitch, which is used commonly in sail making. So I have my zigzag stitch going here, but I would actually like to narrow it a little bit. So I'm just going to go over to my Cuda stitch dial and bring that down to about a 4, and I'm just going to turn the dial to lock it in here. Okay, so I'm happy with how this is looking, so I am ready to proceed with patching the logo onto the bag. Okay, so we're going to get everything lined up and we are off. Something that I love here is that the needle is set to stop in the down position, so when I need to navigate this corner, I can easily turn everything without worrying about it shifting. Something I did need to worry about was loading my bobbin, so I actually ran out of bobbin thread in the middle of this, but no worries. I'm just going to do a quick little bobbin switch here. Make sure you manually bring your needle down to catch that bottom bobbin thread before you get going again. And picking up where we left off, remembering to use your back stitch at all of your starts and stops just to make sure everything is secure. And now that we have our logo applied, we are just going to clean up some of our loose ends. Okay, so now we're ready to prep our bag for sewing. So we're going to fold the bag up in half, right side facing in, and we're going to use our fabric clips just to secure both of the edges. And then we're going to get our ruler and we're going to measure 2 inches down from the top open edge of the bag. And then we're going to move our ruler down and measure an additional inch below that original mark. And you're going to want to do this on both sides. So moving back to the machine, you're going to want to adjust your stitch to a straight stitch and adjust your stitch length as needed. And we're ready to sew. We are going to sew this at a 1/2 inch seam allowance, making sure to take out our fabric clips along the way. And we're going to do this to both sides of the bag. So I always like to have a clean finish for my seams. And when working with sailcloth, I like to do this using a 1/2 inch double folded bias tape. So what I'm going to do next here is just measure 2 15.5 inch strips of the 1/2 inch double folded bias tape. And starting from the bottom edge of the bag, we're just going to sandwich our seam allowance right in between that bias tape, and we're going to use our fabric clips to hold that into place going all the way up, and we're going to do this on both sides. And then we're going to sew that into place using a matching thread color, being careful to remove our fabric clips as we go down, and we are going to do that to both sides. Now, going back to the marks that we made earlier, we are going to take the top edge of the bag and we're going to fold it down to meet that first line. And we're going to take this fold all the way around the bag. With sailcloth, I can use my nail to press and crease the fabric into place, but with another fabric, you might need to use an iron here. And once we have that fold all the way around, we're now going to fold that again to meet that second line that we drew. Okay, so once we have that folded all the way around, we're going to bring our ruler back out and we are going to mark 4.5 inches from the outer edge of the seam allowance, so including the black bias tape that we see here, 4.5 inches in, and we're going to do this on all 4 sides of the bag, and this is going to mark where we are going to place our straps. We are using 3/4 inch webbing for our straps, so we're going to get that out and we are going to measure 2 lengths of webbing at 26 inches long. we are going to cut to that length. And hot tip, if you want to prevent your webbing edges from fraying, you can melt them slightly by quickly passing them through a flame. Just be careful if you are doing this. Once our webbing straps are ready to go, we are going to line the outer edges of the webbing to the marks that we made along that top edge of the bag, and we're going to tuck that webbing all the way up underneath that fold. Once we have that in the right position, we are going to secure it with a fabric clip, and then we're going to take that webbing all the way around, making sure that there's no twists in the fabric, and we're going to line it up to the mark on the other side and do the same thing here, clipping it into place. And then we're going to turn the bag over and do this on the other side of our bag as well. And one final step here, we are going to now fold the webbing up, and we're going to switch the position of our clips. We're going to do this on all four corners. So now you're going to see that the straps are sitting above the bag, and then we are ready to sew. Okay, so our machine is currently threaded with black thread, and we're going to be switching to white. So I thought I'd share a tip here for how I like to do that. So instead of rethreading the whole machine, what I like to do is snip the existing thread, pull in my white, tie them together in a knot, and once I have that knot nice and secure, I will go down to the bottom of the machine, and I can actually just pull that knot all the way through. So all I need to do then is thread the needle and change my bobbin, and I'm all set to sew with white thread. We're going to get the bag positioned under the presser foot. I like to start at one of the side seams, and we are going to be sewing about 1/8 of an inch up from the bottom of that fold. Being careful to remove our fabric clips as we move along, and also being mindful that the sections with the webbing will be a little bit bulkier, and this is where I really love the walking foot machine that just keeps things moving smoothly through these more bulky sections. And once we've taken that all the way around on the bottom edge, we are going to do the same at the top edge, going 1/8 of an inch from the top. And finally, we want to make sure that our straps are really securely attached. So we're going to reinforce them by sewing an X at every corner where the straps attach. You can follow the stitch lines that we just made, and you can also mark your X or just eyeball it before sewing. And that's that. We've finished sewing our bag, but we're just going to clean it up a little bit. If you remember, we used some of those friction marking pens, and you can see how easily those marks disappear just with a quick steam. I'm using a steam iron here. If you are doing the same, make sure you don't touch the iron to the webbing because it will melt it. Alternatively, you can also just use a handheld steamer, and that will work perfectly. And the final step, our big reveal, we're going to turn the bag right side out. Make sure that you press out the corners so we get them nice and pointy. And there she is. A super cute, super functional, super durable tote that you can make in an afternoon. Thanks for watching. I hope that you found this useful, and I hope that you give this a try. If you don't like how the thread is showing through on the back, you can do something to clean this up. So using the same fabric that you used for your bag, we're going to measure out a piece that is 2.5 inches wide and 31 inches long. We are then going to cut that piece out, and we are going to fold it down the middle along the total length of the piece. If you're using sailcloth like me, you might be able to press that folded crease in with your nail and get it to stay. If you are using another fabric, you're going to want to probably use an iron here. Once we have that middle fold completely marked off, we're then going to open it back up and fold the top and the bottom edge in to touch that fold. And we're going to clip this together using one of our fabric clips, and then just sew down at 1/2 inch to join these two pieces together. We now have a continuous circle that matches the width of our bag. And so what we're going to do is we're going to attach this to that top edge of the bag. So we're going to match up our side seam and clip that into place. And then we're going to use our fabric clips all the way around to secure this along the top edge of the bag. Once we have that all clipped, we're going to go back to the machine, and we are going to sew along that top edge, following the existing sewing line that we already have. So I'm sewing from the outside of the bag here, just following that top line. And for our final step, we're just going to secure the bottom part of this piece. So I'm sewing from the inside of the bag here, just going 1/8 of an inch up from the bottom, and we're going to take this all the way around. So once we're done, you can see that the inside is looking nice and clean now. Again, this step is totally optional. It won't impact the function of your bag, but if you're looking for a cleaner finish, you can feel free to add this step.